Yeah, look, I'd probably say the RAPP is a collaborative initiative that Country Arts WA developed that is now made up of 3 major programs running across regional Western Australia in visual arts, Aboriginal arts and dance, which inherently has the needs of regional communities and regional artists at the heart of it, both in terms of the programming and the decision making.
The arts is full of creative people, but we've been pushed into these little boxes that says this is how you get money and this is what you have to do with it. Whereas this program's kind of gone kaboom. Let's see what happens if you get given money and then you work it out together and nobody has to miss out.
This project delivers key funding to organisations in the regions that really need it. It delivers it in a way that allows them the freedom to really tailor it to their needs. Taking away a lot of the burden of having to spend lots and lots of time writing grants when they could be doing the activities.
Thinking about it and how many organisations there were, we started to look at means in which we could deliver a program that focused more on collaboration rather than the traditional methods in which funding's given out. And with the RAPP, we tried to look at ways in which we could be working together and making decisions collectively rather than pitting ourselves against each other to try and find a small piece of the pie.
I'm Ricky Arnold. I was the RAPP coordinator where I came on board really as the program was starting and looked through the methodology that we were going to approach and then began the implementation. So I worked for about 12 months on the project, and the aim of the project really pushed that this would be a collaborative project. So whoever nominated wouldn't necessarily get a grant, but what they would do is become part of a collaborative team that would develop a large-scale project together. So it took quite a while to really talk that through with a lot of different organisations, but in the end we had almost 50 organisations put forward expressions of interest to be part of the project. So once we had the 50 regional organisations, we then examined all of the projects and the challenges that they were facing and began to group them into similar clusters. And we ended up with probably about 15 or 16 different project ideas, project scopes. So we looked at geographic clusters and whether that would be a useful way to work the project. We then looked at art form or theme clusters to see whether that would really be a great way to work. The 4 projects that came through that were selected were the ones that received the most organisations that wanted to collaborate on. So the top one was the galleries, the sort of regional exhibition and gallery exchange program idea. The second one was around developing public art processes in the regions. The third one was around developing cultural leadership in Aboriginal art centres. And the fourth one was around contemporary dance in the regions. We invited regional organisations to take the lead on each of those projects to then go through a development phase. And there was an amount of money put to each cluster to then facilitate them to be able to meet and come together and share ideas and collaborate. I think probably not across most of them. The 3 of those projects were really grasped and led by the regional organisations. The public art cluster, it was very difficult to find one organisation that wanted to take that project on, and so it was discussed that each of the other 3 clusters, the Gallery Exchange Program, the Aboriginal Development Program, as well as the Dance Program, could actually take on some of those issues and be able to deliver for some of those organisations that were looking for specifically those things. So the group decided as a whole that they would cut the 4 projects down to 3, and they would put some funds that would have gone to the public art into each project to then try and to achieve those outcomes at the same time.
The outcomes that we were trying to achieve in terms of building a network, increasing understanding, making sure the regional arts sector is relevant, increasing the resources that they had, and building connections and relationships to reduce isolation. I think it's been, it's worked really well in doing that. And then if I think back to what we could have done, which was run a funding round, I actually sincerely believe that we would not have been able to achieve any of those outcomes if that's what we'd done. Or we may have been able to achieve some of them, but certainly not on such a broad scale across the state.
The biggest lesson is that there's real strength in those collaborative approaches. The skill sets that exist in each region are not necessarily known across other regions, and I think the biggest lessons that people learnt were how much skill and knowledge there was in each of these regional centres, and how much of an ambition to succeed there was. And I think that being able to pull that together, to collaborate together and negotiate a new project was really important for them to put forward what they wanted and to really shape something to be what's actually going to work for them on the ground.